Century Superhuman. And I know that the answers are inside. Yeah, I am a 21st century superhuman. Now is the time. Come on everyone, let's celebrate. We are the children of the sun. I can see you when I look into your eyes. We are the same, and we are light, yeah, we are one. Here now, hear my ancient prayer and sing along. We are awakening as one. And we can make a difference. Yeah, we can be the change it takes to make the world a lot more fun. But if you're feeling kinda down and you need some inspiration to remember who you are, oh, now, child, please don't frown. You can choose a new vibration, and these words can take you far. I am a 21st century superhuman.
All right, welcome to another episode of Bridge to Paradise, the feature show on Expanding You and CCN radio network, television network for one of them. I'm here with my co-host Cary, as usual, and we have a really special guest today with a topic near and dear to my heart that doesn't really get enough attention in my eyes unless you're actually attending protests and social activism events. It's probably gone right over your head that this kind of thing is the undercurrent to every revolution that's ever gone on throughout history.
Absolutely. I'm just getting chills as you say that. I mean, really, it has been the voice of the people forever.
Yep. And we're talking about music activism. And even in mainstream pop, people tend to overlook because they don't pay attention to the lyrics. They're not connecting into anything more than the melody and the beat and stuff. If you actually pay attention to the lyrics in a lot of pop music, from will.i.am to Pharrell to even Kanye West, and throughout history, I mean, Bob Marley, Pink Floyd, even the song that we sing in grade school, "This Land Is Your Land, This Land Is Our Land," that started off as a political activism song.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Woody Guthrie, I mean, he was of the early 1900s, the Dust Bowl years, the Depression years. I mean, he was
absolutely every punk band, every reggae band, most rock bands. My favorite today being Linkin Park, Switchfoot, and Seether. If you listen to their lyrics, I mean, I don't know how anybody can miss what these songs are about. And you definitely can't miss what our guest songs are about, because he's pretty in your face clear about what he's singing about. We're going to play some of that for you.
And our intro, Noah is the person who just sang our intro.
Exactly. Our beautiful, very highly consciousness, high vibrating intro song, 21st Century Superhuman, that we get so much positive feedback about. And all the timeless classics, really, because you're talking to people's souls. So if it's a timeless song, it's likely got some kind of impact on not only the conscious, but on social movement in general. And so Noah Broe, welcome to the show, man.
Hola, Noah.
Yeah. We're so excited to have you and talk about this. I've been a big fan of raptivists, they call them, I guess, and even rocktivists my whole life, pretty much. I grew up on old school rap with Public Enemy. And, you know, nowadays we have Lupe Fiasco and Immortal Technique. And I mean, these guys are really changing the game when it comes to writing conscious lyrics. And I would put you right up there in talent with these people.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have the recognition you deserve quite yet, but it's coming, because people are going to get real tired of the junk music here pretty soon. Anything that's not feeding your soul is going to get really just like, it's empty calories, Chinese food. So You know, we posted some stuff about the Egyptian revolution being grounded in music, but every revolution throughout history has been grounded in music. The whole 60s social movement, I mean, think about that. I mean, it was, the whole thing was a musical movement. And so we're going to play some of your songs. We want to talk about how you ended up being so conscious in the first place. How did you get here? What planet are you from? And all that good stuff. And Cary and you are really good friends, so I know she can give us a little background on that.
Yeah, you know, Noah and I kind of just randomly met. I mean, we have a mutual friend who happens to know Noah's parents, and when he heard what I was doing with 21st Century Superhuman and Virtual Earth Village and being involved globally, he said, "You've got to meet Noah. You're going to love his music." And Noah and I met, and it was one of those, you know, like love at first sight. It's like we connect with these people that are part of our tribe, part of our soul family, and our hearts just know who that being is instantly. And that's such a awesome, cool, you know, beautiful meeting in this world, because we're finding each other, those who have this awakening process going on. And the first thing I heard, I think before I met Noah, I might have heard the Revolution song. I think I might have had that, which we're going to play later in the show, which is just an amazingly perceptive song about what's been going on culturally. But we're going to talk about that song and then how Noah has kind of shifted internally since he wrote that song to a kind of a, you know, a newer vision beyond that. But yeah, we met and we just instantly recognized each other, and we were friends for like a year. And then one day Noah called me from New York. He and his wife were up there working on jewelry for festivals, and he and his little girl and dog, and he called me and he said, "Hey, I need to talk." And I'm like, okay. We talked for about 3 hours and kind of just did this reset about, you know, the 21st Century Superhuman perspective. And when we got done, he called me back like an hour later and he said, "Hey, have you got a minute to listen to a song?" And I was like, yeah. And he played the 21st Century Superhuman song, which I had been envisioning and dreaming that somebody would come forward with one, but I had no idea what it would be like. And it's like we were feeding into the same dream.
Nor could you have envisioned it would have been that good. I mean, that song, I haven't talked to one person who heard that song that isn't walking around humming it.
Absolutely. I have friends who just say, "I can't get that song out of my head. I'm humming it all the time."
Cool. Yeah. And that's just a testament to his talent. I mean, I remember the first time I heard the Revolution song before I ever was exposed to Noah in any other capacity. The line, "A revolution comes and it comes in the form of a guitar with a bass and a drum," or something like that, always stuck in my head because it's so true. I mean, any awake and aware person has got music as sort of the soundtrack of their awakening and of their conscious living. So I'm really excited to talk about, you know, where these lyrics came from, because they're just really like 0 point awareness. He's tapped.
Yeah. Noah, yeah, and yeah, go ahead. You give us your
jump on in anytime you want.
Jump in there.
Sure. Well, a little background. Well, I'm from Newport Richey, Florida, and just kind of had a quiet, you know, riding my bike through the neighborhood kind of way of growing up. And we lived on the water and developed a love for nature and sailing and, you know, catching the wind. And I started playing guitar a little bit here and there. A lot of people I grew up around are into music, love music, played good music, you know, Pink Floyd and Bob Marley and all that stuff was what I remember hearing. And I got serious with playing guitar around age 13 and playing with my dad. Also, he plays drums and we always had jams going on in the house and everything. So that's how I got into it. And my father, I got to say, is a seeker of awareness and, you know, change for the world, and he's always had a message of inspiration. And so he asked me the Revolution song, actually, he asked me, hey, how about a protest song? Like, you know, he actually gave me the idea to write that. And
you really are this generation that's come along. I mean, there's a lot of people your age that have been raised by pretty conscious parents at this point. Not, you know, maybe not the majority, but there's a good number. And it's so cool to see you grown up as a product of that reality, you know, rather than the old. You know, I mean, we all have our things we have to work through, but, you know, the fact that you got to grow up with that kind of environment and, you know, getting nurtured along in those things by your parents.
So you basically were raised in a very awake and aware environment. Like, did you have an awakening, or it was just always the reality for you?
Well, you know, I don't tell everyone this all the time, but you know, I've had things happen that I can't explain or put into words that seemed like awakening. One time, the Pleiades was directly over my head. I was a little kid, and I remember feeling this like pulse wave or something. So, you know, that's getting into areas of talk that are definitely not, you know, pop culture yet, you know, but like you're saying, things like that, it takes a little bit of courage for me to come out and say stuff like that. But,
yeah, you know, I got chills when you said that. And Ken, our compadre, who's not on the show today because he had to work at a outside job, had, you know, he's had amazing things happen to him that we've shared on the air many times. So it's really cool of you to share that. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on the Conscious Consumer Network. So
Yeah.
you know, most of our viewers are having these same experiences, and we do talk about these kinds of things quite in depth, and especially when we were just on radio and Expanding You, I don't think there's probably anything you could tell us that wasn't ever disclosed on that channel. I mean, we're all living the same journey here, just walking a little bit different paths. So
yeah, and if you even have any thoughts on how that fed into your life and any additional, you know, things like that, we love to hear them.
Yeah, it's essentially an activation. So what age were you when you were activated?
You know, I think that experience that I'm remembering was around between 8 and 10.
That's pretty young. That's awesome.
But I'm not, you know, an expert in these kind of subjects and things. I was just kind of trying to keep it.
Yeah.
Your picture.
Well, you know, it's interesting. If you study, you know, Hendrix and all of them, really, Jim Morrison, they did that movie on the Doors where they kind of touched on his activation as a young child, riding in the backseat of his dad's car kind of thing. But if you read biographies and stuff, we all are sharing the same story. It's not a new story. The cosmos is playing with us. It's using us to get things done here on planet Earth. So we're not going to make you comfortable and uncomfortable and going into any of the details, but it's really, you're in good company, my friend. Let me just say that.
And, you know, one of the things we talk about in 21st Century Superhuman is that we literally, in this time on planet Earth, many of us who are here who are awake have come in with literal coding in our DNA that is being activated by the light fields and the planetary fields that we've moved into in this time. And we talk about that a lot in 21st Century Superhuman, but the photon belt, NASA says we're in faster moving photons of light. And these literally are activating codes in our DNA designed for us to live in a more awake state. And that is pretty cool.
And not only that, but the cameras are capturing it all over the world. Now, I don't think I can go a day without somebody posting some halo pictures, or, I mean, there's crazy stuff. That picture you posted the other day in Florida with the sun was, I mean, there's just there's crazy stuff going on. And it's a good time to be living in this time and space.
We're literally with the naked eye or with our cameras seeing these greater fields of light that are now beaming into the planet through the great central sun. The Pleiades is definitely an activation point. Alcyone, the central sun of the Pleiades. And many more things.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to escape this awakening that's going on. I think even
That's
Obama's
true.
daughter got in trouble. I want to say it was a month or two ago. She posted a picture on Instagram wearing an MC's t-shirt, and they're political rappers that badmouth her dad quite often.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not, nobody's getting out of this without, waking the hell up.
so Noah, go ahead, continue with your story.
Okay, so another way that I started thinking about a lot of things, such as sacred geometry, the history of our planet, things like that, was the Flower of Life workshop series by Drunvalo Melchizedek. Way back, I was about 15, and I saw on VHS tape a lot of stuff being talked about by him.
Now, was that, did you get exposed to that through your dad, or?
Yeah, we lived in a place, we rented from this couple who shared the tapes with us.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so,
When
that.
the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right?
Oh, I'm sorry?
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right?
Yes, so.
At 15 years old, your frequency pulled that in. That's very cool.
Well, I certainly had time to ponder things, and we were hanging out in the woods. It was just right at the end of 1999. We were out there hanging out.
I think nature is a great activator too. I mean, the more you're in that silent, the natural vibration, when you entrain to that, you can't help but have downloads, big time downloads. It's obvious you're downloading or tapping into the infinite mind, we like to call it, in your lyrics. And you can't do that by surrounding yourself with chaos and materialism and, things that are of low vibrations.
Yeah, it definitely requires at least taking a retreat internally, a lot more meditation and stuff. But yeah, that time, interestingly enough, I was eating a lot of raw foods, very close to vegetarian as well, and which I know that's always made me feel literally lighter, my being even closer to the idea of being less dense in vibration, and so maybe that was another time when I was allowing myself to be more receptive to what more could come into my life. And got to give my parents credit too, and they're naturopathic educators, like healthcare educators, and basically healthy lifestyle, healthy living examples of having a healthy homestead. They have a nice place they've been cultivating for a while, but they do a lot of working with the people in the surrounding area. They're out of Brooksville, Florida, and so that's basically, they're the reason why I was eating healthy and spending time in the garden and things. So got to give them props for that too.
Absolutely. Well, it's no coincidence you got placed with them, I'm sure. I mean, it's obvious you're here to do stuff with your music, and it's not possible to get on that level without some guidance. And so we all have, parents and teachers and whatnot to thank for that. I often wonder what it would be like to be raised in a conscious environment like that, because, my parents were conscious to an extent, but not in that just total tapping into the bigger picture consciousness. And, I'm sure you're raising your kids under that consciousness, and it just blows my mind what this world is going to look like in 20 years when we have a whole generation, not just the hippies raising a generation, but the whole world raising a generation that looks like that.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome to my office. You can see the little baby onesie on the wall. We're gonna have a little baby any day now.
Congratulations. That's exciting. That's a whole other kind of activation there.
Oh yeah. that just ties it all in, you know.
Oh, the circle of life.
Yeah, so we're really excited, and so yeah, definitely going through a big transition here into our expanding family, and like Cary was talking about, you know, we're down to take the family and cruise around, and
yeah,
you know.
And you kind of have to do that to do this work. I mean, they don't always come to you at first. That happens later once you've established yourself. So it is a nomadic kind of existence doing what you're doing.
Noah and I have been having a conversation about him potentially doing a documentary. There's so many amazing musicians out there who are really voices of the culture right now. I mean, I always say there's 7 billion geniuses on the planet. And, you know, all we need to do is, you know, find each other and get a little more exposure. So
Absolutely.
he kind of has a dream of traveling, turning kids on to music in schools, vision through their music.
Yeah. I mean, music and children are two really, you know, heartstring, strong topics. And we're actually doing a documentary contest on this network. Maybe you can type in the details for me, Biggie, because they're escaping me right now. I don't know when the deadline is or what the prize is or any of that stuff at this moment. But yeah, that would be an excellent idea.
Yeah. You want to tell us?
Cary,
go ahead.
You remind me of a talking point I thought of.
Go ahead.
That ties all this in together, and it's with on a foundational level. You know, what I'm seeing from my point of view as a father and as a musician and as, you know, someone who believes in making a big change in my, you know, in one lifetime, what I can do with my life now. I'm looking at how we grow our food, how we live our lives. And, you know, the thing is, like, what I'm pointing out in the Revolution song, you know, is basically that, you know, we've ended up in a culture where we have to pay. A lot of us have to pay, or at least we've still subscribed to the idea that we have to pay to live on this planet, and to have, you know, to have a right to be here and to keep on living and breathing, that it costs money and all these different ideas.
Which we know is wrong, right?
Yeah, it's just, you know, and
it's not only wrong, it's ridiculous.
To living from joy and abundance.
Yeah. I mean, you can even have land gifted to you from generations that has been paid off for hundreds of years. And if you don't pay your taxes, they will take it from you. I mean, that if anybody can explain the justice in that to me in any way that makes sense, I will give them $1 million.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do is, the way I'd like to raise my children is in a different lifestyle. And that reminds me of the, you know, subtitle of the book, Quantum Lifestyle. Like, what is that? What does quantum mean? First of all, you know, how much do we need to study into what's been found through scientific observation about, you know, the quantum field and all these things? And then how can our lifestyle actually begin to represent what those ideas are really saying about what we found as truth?
Well, you're asking the question that we try to address every single week.
Yes.
On this show, is talking about how to integrate these principles into a you know, more conscious way of being and doing in the world.
Yeah.
And you tapped it in the song perfectly. I mean, the song is just like the perfect intro song for our discussions.
It is. The work of Michael Tellinger too, and the Ubuntu idea of contributionism. He's got a lot of videos on YouTube, and Ubuntu is this ancient African philosophy that says, I am because we are. And it is about the collective living together in beauty and peace on the planet. And there's a lot of videos on YouTube. In fact, you can go on Facebook, and there is now an Ubuntu organization in just about every country in the world. And that is amazing because so many people are ready. I call this the ancient slave species mentality. And we have given away our knowing that we are creator beings who are designed to operate in love. And as we restore that alignment with love, which is the truth of our being, and we begin living in that as opposed to blame, fear, hostility, judgment, and control, which have established this old civilization, whoever we call it that did it. Michael Tellinger's book, Slave Species of the Gods, gives some insights on that. And I think there's probably been many races that have visited this planet over eons. And we are all really starseeds at some level.
I think what's interesting about what you're saying is at this point, I think there's enough awake and aware people that we can even, there is a slave mentality going on, but there's also kind of a prostitution mentality going on. And I remember that being a lyric in one of Noah's songs too. I think it's the Revolution song. And that's been a concept I've been carrying around for years now, because I felt like I was prostituting my soul for a paycheck before I finally stepped out of the matrix. It just got to the point where I just felt like I was getting soul raped every single day. And, I didn't even know about the slave species at that point in time. I just knew that this was not in alignment with the way we were supposed to be, just intuitively knew that.
Yeah, there's that feeling of selling your soul when you're out every day doing some job that you don't even really want to do in exchange for money that barely gets you through so that you can pay for your car and pay for your house and pay for your food. And Noah, it's beautiful. And this is like a precious conversation you and I have had many times. What you're saying about your dream to raise your family this way and to live this kind of life. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about your vision, because it's so good to see it alive. I know it's alive in many people around the world, and your expression of it is speaking for many others.
Thanks. Well, yeah, one thing I wanted to mention on that subject is a lot of what I've learned about biochemistry and things from my father, like cortisol, for instance, the stress hormone. It gets produced when we're in fight or flight, and we're stimulated by that struggle to make it get by, and paying for everything and making sure that our family's okay and all that. That's re-stimulating this part of our brain, even the reptilian brain, and it's keeping us in this tired, kind of whipping a tired horse, and we're stimulate, keep going, don't give up, because we have this heart, and as humanity, we have this drive and this life force that is amazing and incredible what we can endure. And that can be harnessed and directed into a sustainable way of life, and we're ready for it now. And there's still doubt. Your comment about selling out your soul, I thought that reminded me of a band name idea. It was Soul Doubt, SOUL, Soul Doubt, and it could be like a punk rock band or something. But anyway,
yeah, cool.
Yeah. I think anything that we're calling it, conscious entertainment is going to be the way of the future, whether it be in music or television or whatever, because all the rest of it just isn't sticking anymore. I mean, even to the most unaware and unawake and superficial of the superficial, they're sick of being zombies. And once you give them a spark, it's like, a moth to the flame doesn't even cover what happens when you just give them a little spark, because they're so hungry at this point. It's just crazy. They're famished.
Yeah. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yes. Basic psychology textbook stuff, and most people are right on the bottom there, trying to get
it's survival,
food and shelter.
Yeah, it's survival mentality. And this is what I say about really the Mayans and these ancient cultures that teach we are in the shift of the ages. We are in the greatest human evolutionary leap, in probably in history. And it is in this evolutionary leap that I believe what's happening is we're growing beyond the reptilian brain into an expanded, conscious state of being and operating from that.
And that's why they're stepping so far out of bounds at this point, to keep people in that fight or flight mode, because it's like a race against the clock at this point in time. People are waking up so fast that if they don't go absolutely batshit crazy with their agenda, I mean, it's so obvious at this point. I can't even believe there's anybody left on the planet that can't see it. But, you know, and that only serves the purpose of waking more people up. So it's all good anyway.
Yeah. We're the ones with the power. We're the ones who are keeping the machine running. So as soon as enough people say, I'm going to stop buying this, I'm just going to stop working to make this money to buy this thing,
Yep.
and I'm going to have it for free.
Yep. And I often say the only vote that you have that counts is your dollar. That's the only vote you have that matters at this point. Everything else is rigged.
Yep.
And that's so true. Making stuff for free, living in communities where you can build houses together. You can, you know, we're developing communities where we're actually bringing in the engineers and the scientists that can recreate the technology that we've all gotten so used to, so that we can create a space where people can step out of the matrix without feeling like they've stepped into, you know, the 11th century. Because until that happens, we're not going to get them all out. So we really have to create these space age cities that make it more appealing to live there than, you know, the comfy, convenient, instant gratification lifestyle that they've been accustomed to. And that's what we're doing. I mean, we're attracting some of the top minds from around the world to do that because they all get it too.
Yeah, one of my favorite videos is the New Earth Nation one that gets played on this channel a lot. And it gives this vision of this beautiful Earth without automobiles and with really a space age kind of villages and cities with food growing everywhere. And we are really ready.
Yeah, and that vision comes from back in the biblical era where they talk about, you know, as earth as in heaven. You know, this has been a vision that's been in the making for millennia now, and we're watching it unfold, and it's such a exciting time to live in that sense. And we actually get front seat, you know, we get a front seat backstage pass to watching it happen. There's new developments every day that just, it's like, wow, it's literally about to break wide like a tidal wave. Okay, so Biggie, you want to play this song and then we'll have a little discussion about that. Okay, this is Noah's Revolution song. Starting here in a few seconds. Enjoy. It's great. Listen to the lyrics. They're so
awesome.
good.
Bring the revolution!
Whoa, revolution come, it'll come on the guitar with a bass in the drums. Whoa, you know the revolution come, it come with the new music with sensations, I say. People come together from all around, we got to get the music going with a fresh new sound. We fight for our rights like Mother say, got to do it every night and every single day. With the rhythm in the groove, let your body move and let your mind unwind, because you've got to prove you won't get bent by the government, even though they print the money like we got no sense. In the name of terrorism, we get more laws. Well, they would never tell you that they are the cause. They blaming other people for the games they play. Osama was trained by the CIA. Take away your freedom, just to say the least. It's the Antichrist with the mark of the beast. Remote control humans with an RFID. Sounds like some kind of alien agenda to me. And they're spending all the money on this bullshit Television programming's brainwashing our youth, causing problems in the world, reactions to the press, invading other countries and causing stress. Gotta switch on drugs, the devil get you high, telling lies, only lies, never telling us why. Preoccupied nation with mental masturbation, sending us to school for some bogus occupation, controlling our beliefs, using fear for religion, stealing up the truth and never giving back a smidgen. Here's the church, yo, here's the steeple. God bust down the doors, we gotta free ourselves, people. The republic for which it stands, one nation, sinking in quicksand. I pledge allegiance to peace, love, and unity, but we gotta fight just to keep ourselves free. You say you wanna change the world, but are you gonna change your mind? You say you wanna change the world, but are you gonna change your mind? You say you wanna change the world, but are you gonna change your mind? We say we got to change this world, but first we must change our minds. Come on the guitar and bass and the drums. Whoa, feel the revolution come. We come with the new musical sensation. Whoa, revolution come. It'll come on the guitar with the bass and the drums. Whoa, we know the revolution come. We come with the new musical sensation. I say. Just to keep yourself free, you gotta fight just to keep your liberty. You gotta fight just to keep yourself free. You gotta fight just to keep your liberty. You gotta fight just to keep yourselves free. We gotta fight just to keep our liberty. We gotta fight just to keep ourselves free. We gotta fight just to keep our liberty. Whoa, revolution come. Revolution come, gotta fight just to keep ourselves free.
Okay, welcome back. So you guys just got to hear the piece that we were talking about earlier, the Revolution song. And you actually talk about how this country is like a hardworking whore in that song, which is a fantastic line because it's so true. And then one of my other favorite lines in that song was, you say you want to change the world, but are you going to change your mind? And that's something we talk about a ton on here is people sitting back and judging this world and can't believe they're like this and they're like that. And like, well, what are you doing about it? Like, until you're actually out there doing something about it and making different decisions, you can't be driving your gas guzzling car and complaining about the wars on oil. I mean, we're all, you know, a subject to this matrix to some degree. But you know,
the only thing we can truly change is ourselves. And we talk about that as 21st century superhumans all the time.
And Noah's an example of, you know, someone who's not just talking the talk but walking it. And we were talking about while you guys were listening to this song how you know, the do-it-yourself music culture is, you know, going around and creating these festivals, and they're actually getting out there and trying to educate the people, and how our two groups where we have the teachers on the consciousness level and the musicians on the consciousness level are about to start working together to help seed this stuff. You guys have the sound vibration, we have the frequency vibration in our words, and in the light that we're shedding. We're both completely aligned with that mission. So, you know, let's be nomads together. I say to the awake and aware world, let's just start bombarding the countries. And there's, you know, they're already doing this around the world. Cary's going to read a piece in a little bit about that. But I'd like to hear, you know, how that song came about a little bit, Noah. Like what was going on in your life when that download happened? Because it's just freaking brilliant.
Well, my songwriting started coming together around that time. And that's one of the first songs I've written completely with, you know, with many, many lyrics and many different ideas. I really just wanted to shine some light on the reality of the world as it is now, as we see it changing, and or the talk of change, and the, you know, the hope and what people believe in different things. It's kind of amazing to be here now and just to watch it all unfold. I think my real message in that song, you know, I'm not trying to sound like I'm complaining about how things are. It's more like, you know, look, this is why we need to stand up. And, you know, I'm not into fighting. I say, you got to fight to keep yourself free. We got to fight to keep our liberty. And,
but that's a metaphor for the
true.
warrior mentality. It's not about, you know, fist fighting. It's about being a warrior, not just letting them steamroll you, which is what a lot of people are doing, because they want to be peaceful. But, you know, the way that Gandhi and Martin Luther King were able to get things done weren't by just sitting on the couch and waiting for it to happen. You know, the whole, what's that movement called? My brain is having a glitch right now, Cary.
The Ubuntu?
No, I want to say dissidents, but it's not. The Gandhi and Martin Luther King followed a certain philosophy, peaceful. Anyway, the point is that you are still able to be productive in your you're able to be productive in your protest without actually being a contributor to the violence. And you know, there's
nonviolent protest, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's a actual philosophy behind it that I can't think of right now. So, but yeah, I mean, that's what you're talking about when you say we have to fight to be free. It's not about actually picking up arms. And actually, that article that you're going to read talks about how the Egyptians have a lot to teach us. The Egyptian musicians and the protesters have a lot to teach us about how to deal with these police states, these militarized states that are trying to combat protesting with arrests and even bullets at some, you know, stage, and even, you know, just getting your ass beat, which both Martin Luther King and Gandhi's followers had to go through. But there's a science behind it now that we can, you know, manage to make it happen without that much violence. There wasn't a whole ton of violence considering what the media portrayed. Don't pay attention to that as far as what happened in Egypt. Carrie Cassidy actually did an expose on the real story of Egypt years after it happened, what really happened compared to what the media was telling us. And it was an impressive revolution. They were able to get a whole regime overthrown, and it stuck without much violence. So
yeah, each of these countries out on the front lines is basically, you know, changing the curve of the direction of where we're headed, you know, from Greece to Iceland, Afghanistan, I mean, Ireland, and Egypt. Bless the hearts of the souls that have been out on the front lines in those countries and have been willing to stand up and let their voices be heard.
And, you know, the media has stuff to do with that. Our media is one of the things that's keeping us most oppressed at this point. And I think in that article that you're going to read, they mentioned where the mention of the young people in Mexico and these countries that are actually writing music and, you know, giving speeches and stuff. You're only going to find this stuff on YouTube. You're not going to find it in the mainstream media. The revolution will not be televised is not just a cliche. It's a real thing. So
Noah, any more thoughts on the revolution song?
Well, not really. It's just, you know, it's good to hear that song again, thinking about it and bring it back up fresh in my mind. And but I'll segue into another one, which is this new song I wrote, and it's a little bit simpler and not so much in your face, but it's basically about, you know, creating a new way and in gratitude and, you know, And that, well, if you think about what we really need to do right now, it's like you said, we vote with every dollar we spend, and it's really about how we choose to live our life on a day-to-day basis. And every little choice that we make, you know, where is the intention of that choice really rooted in? What belief system, or what greater picture of what we want, you know, for our life? And are we actually actively, you know, focusing on that with each choice we make, or are we just, you know, sort of ignoring the bigger picture? Because you know, that's the, you know, I see as the challenge, you know, for myself. So knowing what I'm here for, and then, you know, never giving up, you know, and always showing up. That's my new goal, is to always show up. That's the
we're definitely in this bridging time in our world of bridging from the old to the new. And it is a challenge, you know, it isn't necessarily easy, and it takes this commitment of mind, heart, and soul. And that's one reason, you know, the music of people like yourself is so beautiful and helpful, because it helps us sustain and maintain and develop that vision inside ourselves. I think it's a really important voice. Why don't I go ahead and read a little bit from this Forbes article, because it's really good about the voices around the world that are making a difference. And then
okay, before you do that, I just want to comment on what Noah's saying. That's kind of what our conversations center around every Sunday, is how do we move from this, you know, there again, it's the fighting against, but not so much the fighting against, you know, being awake and aware and creating the reality we want and focusing on the solutions more than the problems. How do we tip the consciousness into that 51% where you're actually creating the world that you want to live in, and not being a tool for their creation, which is what all of these distractions and all of these things that they do to us, is to, you know, even when we think we're focusing on awake and aware material, they're still harvesting our energy and creating the unwanted scenarios because of our ignorance to how the whole creation system works in the first place. And that we talk about that a lot. So you're totally in alignment with, you know, where we are in the stage of our ascension and our awakening on how to, you know, take it to the next level. And this whole network, really, the whole expanded team and this network is all about, you know, giving voice to the people that are creating the solutions, that are building the bridges to another land, more so than just building the bridges to knowledge. Because having knowledge and not doing anything with it is the same as not having it. So you can understand how creation works and what you focus on expands and all that stuff. But if you're still, you know, showing people chemtrails, you know, what are you actually doing there? Like, what are you contributing to the process by doing that? So that's an ongoing conversation that we're having, and I've already invited you off air, but you're welcome to join us anytime you want.
Right, and that's our show Sunday nights from 8 to 10 Eastern time. Airs live, and then is archived after that. And it's on the book that I wrote called 21st Century Superhuman Quantum Lifestyle. Yeah. And we talk about the stepping stones, because it is usually a journey to make these kind of steps. We get the awake light bulbs going on, and then we feel it in our hearts and souls, and we begin taking action inwardly. And then how do we actually move that out into practice?
How do we walk as ascended masters on this planet and be a complete tool for the light?
Absolutely.
And, you know, for all those, you know, religious people out there that have been programmed and conditioned to think that rebels and activism and all of these things are, you know, what the rebellious energy, there's something wrong with it. Well, do you think Jesus was not considered a rebel of his time? Like, you know, pay attention. So what we're doing is, you know, we're doing a book reading, a chapter every week, and then we discuss the implications of that information. And as you know, from being exposed to Cary's work, there's massive implications and massive amount of light coming off of the pages of those books that are helping us, you know, decode the matrix and rework the system. And so,
very lively discussion.
Yes, and you'd fit right in.
Yeah. Well, Cary, were you going to read something?
Yeah, let me just read a little bit out of this really quick. This is from Forbes magazine, and it's called Rage Against the Regime, How Young People Are Using Music to Create Social Change in the Middle East. Before the revolution, we were like zombies. We were like dead people, says Egyptian musician Rami Assam. Not positive how to pronounce his name. But now we have dreams. Assam, who was arrested and tortured in March 2011 for his role as stirrer of the pot during the 2011 Egyptian revolution, is one of the musicians followed in a new MTV series, Rebel Music, on MTV's 24-hour college channel, and on rebelmusic.com. Each episode of Rebel Music focuses on a different country grappling with inner turmoil. The series was created and executive produced by blah, 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 general manager of MTV World. Our work is focused upon tracking and excavating and discovering what's happening with youth around the world. Durante became interested in showcasing the musical activism of young people in countries that are often in the news, such as Israel, Egypt, Morocco, India, Mali, and Afghanistan. We're not hearing from the youth in those countries. We're only hearing from politicians and vested interests and older people, basically, in the normal news. The youthful voice is missing. The omission is particularly striking, given that the young people constitute the majority of the population in many of these countries. In Egypt, for example, 57.2% of the population are under 25 years old, compared with only 34% of Americans. MTV wants us to hear what the young people have to say because they are the ones who will decide their country's futures. This series shows how music both creates conflict and helps resolve it. The Egypt episode, for example, follows a group of musicians leading up to the demonstrations against the Muslim Brotherhood on June 30th, 2013. Musicians worked alongside activists to get momentum for what was ultimately one of the largest protests in history. Art is expression, and expression is what we need right now, says an excited Egyptian music promoter. The demonstrations were successful in ousting Morsi from power. So anyway, that just kind of shows how music is literally playing a role in this global revolution that's going on.
Well, and also if you read the aftermath of that revolution, the actual breakdown of what occurred, the only violence that happened was coming from the government, and it wasn't coming from both sides of the military. The Army and the Air Force actually battled against each other. The Air Force was threatening the protesters, doing flyovers, and they even got shot at in the very beginning of it. And the Army stepped in and actually put their tanks in front of the protesters to protect them from the Air Force. It was a really interesting thing that happened there, and knowing that their youth is making up more than 57% of the population makes a lot of sense as to why they were able to accomplish what they were able to accomplish. And there was even a period of, I want to say 3 to 6 months, where there was no government. They were literally self-governed. And the study on what happened in that situation is really worth everybody looking into as well, because we're told we need governments. We're told that people aren't good natured in general, and that we need law and consequences and all of these things, and they proved that whole thing wrong too. So I encourage anybody to look up that Carrie Cassidy, what's her group called, Project Camelot, did an article, and I don't even know if she wrote it or if she just found a reporter and highlighted it. But it's a long article, but it's really in depth. It's really worth seeding the information around. And also, the Israeli and Palestinian conflict is being healed through music and art. There's a dance program that has Israeli and Palestinian children doing ballroom together. That's really inspirational, and I know that video went viral last year or the year before. And as we said at the beginning, art's always been on the front line. And when you exercise civil disobedience, is what the word was that I was looking for. Civil disobedience is the only way. It's not fighting fire with fire. That doesn't work. Fighting just injustice with injustice is never going. It's like that whole an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind thing that Gandhi used to say. It's so true. And it's not just true on a social level, it's true on a metaphysical level, on an ontological level. So, you know, this is something that we need to get past in order to move into the golden age more fully and actually ascend this matrix that we're stuck in right now.
Very well said.
Yes, very well said.
Okay. So we have about 4 minutes left and you have a song for us, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll sound all right on the speakers here. This song is kind of a happy song, and I wrote.
We hate happy. We don't like happy. What's up with that?
Well, I took a look around me, and I was like, "Gosh, I must be doing something right."
Awesome. It's that high vibrations. You can't get away from happy. Everyone's like, why are you always so smiley and stuff? Because I have a medical condition. I'm in pain sometimes, and I'm still just cracking up and just stoked and glowy or whatever. And I'm just like, because that's the vibration I live on. It doesn't matter what's going on around me. I just cannot be anything but happy all the time. That's what we want for everybody. So
that's what I choose.
Yeah.
I choose happy.
Check into this sound vibration that he's about to rock here.
Yeah, so I'm not warmed up or anything, and hopefully the speakers don't distort, because I sing pretty loud in this one. It goes like this. On the great horizon, I can see the sun go down. Further into the night, I hear the crickets chirping sound. Give thanks for all the blessings sitting by firelight. I know I'm never guessing, but my heart is open. I'm so happy just to be, and there ain't no way that anyone can enslave me. I am the truth, I am the light. Whoa. I'm so grateful for this life. There have been so many times all I could do was cry. I don't know how, don't know why, but I must be doing something right. Whoa. I must be doing something right. Whoa. In the darkest hour, by the moonlit starry skies, in my own reflection, sometimes I don't recognize, but I take comfort knowing in the morning we will see the bright sun rising high, shining light on you and me. If I get stuck in my head, thoughts and feelings so misread, I can't let them go instead. There's a guitar solo in there. Living, loving, undercover, you will surely soon discover people can be mean and cruel, starting when they go to school. Hatred don't come naturally, but it's in the news, on TV. Now it's time to bend the rules. Got a new age, make a new school. Listen, learning, all these fires are burning. Every single empire seems to fall. Keeping your heart in the an example of stopping a revolution of love. We'll break down these walls. If you get stuck in your head,
thoughts and feelings so misread. You can let them go instead. I'm so happy just to be, and there ain't no way the genie won't get me. I am the truth, I am the lie. Whoa. I'm so grateful for this life. There have been so many times all I could do is cry. I don't know how, I don't know why. I'm doing something right. Whoa. I'm doing something right. Whoa. I'm doing something right. Whoa. Doing something right. Oh my God, I can't wait for you to record that so we can use it as one of our break songs. Talk about next level. That was so high vibrating. My cat's sleeping next to my computer and he put his paw on the computer just to like hold on to it while you were doing that. That was amazing. The lyrics there again, it's like the progression of consciousness. You know, the Revolution song is great, and you know, we need to reach people of all vibrations. So we're gonna have people that need that sort of hard seed planted, and then we have the people that are ready for the next level. And the seeds that you just planted in the lyrics of that song are where we're all going. And they're again totally in alignment with what we're talking about every Sunday night. You know, that is going to be our bridge to paradise. You just like laid it out there. Loved it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah, it was so good
on the show.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have you on the panel on Sundays. We're doing chapter 14, right, Cary? Do you have anything you want to say about that song? And do you remember what chapter 14 is called?
I don't, and I don't have a book right here. I did write a blog post about it, but I can't remember offhand.
I think it was the dream ones, something about.
Yeah, it may be
15. Anyway, they're all good. It doesn't matter.
They're all good. Yeah, they're all just really about how we're integrating with this new now that is so amazing and so exciting and so activating to who we truly are. Noah, that was a song. I love it. I'm in the same town Noah is part of the time when I'm in Florida. So I got to go here and play live last week, and that was really fun. You know, with a mic at a restaurant and stuff.
Yeah, it's really amazing how many other musicians are showing up at these songwriter events and playing songs about being the light and just, you know, singing about love.
Absolutely.
It's true. Yeah.
It's amazing even how many mainstream people it's fallen into. It's in almost everything I attract anymore. And I could walk into a room with a bunch of 3D people and they might not be hearing what I'm hearing, but it's everywhere. It's permeating everything right now.
There's really a huge range too I think so many musicians have got, you know, lyrics that are in protest of what's going on in the world and how the world's been operating. I mean, it's huge.
For sure. And it's been that way, you know, for a long time, like we said, but right now we're coming into another sort of social movement where it's everybody is starting to write these lyrics. So
and the idea that we are the change, you know, that the old is not working and that it's kind of up to us to begin living in new ways.
Yep, for sure. Okay, well, that was a great show. It was so much fun. And, you know, you can always showcase your music if you join us on Sundays, too, anytime you've got new lyrics, because that really does just seed in such a beautiful, harmonious, you know, alpha brain kind of way, everything that we're doing and trying to be in this world. And we just love you for what you're doing and being.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So, okay. Well, thanks for joining us, audience. Thanks for coming, Noah. And, oh, yeah, where can we buy your music at? Thank you, Biggie.
Oh, that's a good question.
Thanks to our producer. He's thinking.
You can search for me on iTunes. That would work fine.
Okay, cool.
Noah.
And it's Noah Broe, which is Broe.
Yep.
Even love the cadence and that. Your name is just, it's all good. It's all fantastic.
You know a bro named Noah Broe, yo.
Yeah. Tripping on the light. Fantastic. We are. Okay. So, adios. See you guys on Sunday.
Love you guys.
Be there. Be
See you
square.
soon.